Hello guys, my name is Jay with Kaleideum At Home, and today we are going to talk about global warming, climate change, and what you can do to help, as well as a couple experiments to help us explain along the way. First things first, we need to talk about what is weather and what is climate, because they're two very different things. Weather is what is happening in one given place at a time. Is there rain? Is there big clouds? Is there snow? That is weather. Tornadoes, snow, wind, and rain are all weather. Then what is climate? Well, climate is the weather over a big area. So like the climate of North America on the coast is wet and humid usually. Up north it's wet and cold. In the middle it's dry. That is climate. And normally you have to spend a couple years studying the climate in order to get the full picture. And climate change is exactly as it sounds, the change of climate over a period of time. 20,000 years ago, the Earth was covered in glaciers and it was super cold. But over the past 150 years, we have seen climate change going at a much faster speed than it normally does. This is because of humans producing what we call greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are gases that rise into the atmosphere and trap heat in. We have gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane. Do you know where methane comes from? It comes from farts, especially from cow farts. So let's do a great example of a greenhouse gas. What we're going to need is we're going to need a bottle with the bottom cut out, preferably with a lid, a thermometer, and a glass to set your thermometer in. First things first, what you're going to do is you're going to take the temperature outside. So using your thermometer, you're going to go outside and say, it's kind of chilly. It's getting to the 60s. You're going to make a note of that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your thermometer in a cup, and you're going to take your bottle. This is going to act as our greenhouse gas, and it's going to trap the heat inside. And we're going to put it on top, and you're going to sit it in the sun for about an hour, and then come back and record what temperature it is. It should be warmer than when you originally recorded it. This is because you are trapping those gases inside and they are trapping that heat. Does that make sense? Great. Well, what does climate change cause? Well, climate change causes a lot of things. First things first, it melts glaciers and land ice and causes a rise in ocean levels. This also changes the salinity, or how salty the water is. This change can affect people's homes, but it can also affect animals. The salinity can stress animals out and sometimes completely destroy them, like oysters and clams. Or it could just stress them out or make it harder for them to live where they're supposed to. So it destroys animal and people homes, and it changes the salinity of the ocean. We're going to demonstrate what the difference between land ice and ocean ice is. And what we're going to need for this is a plastic container. You can use dirt, Play-Doh, clay to make your own landmass. We have a fancy little one that has its own land. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take some water. The water can be blue. It is much prettier if you use blue, but it is not entirely necessary. And we're going to fill it up. And then we're going to take an expo marker. And we're going to mark where that ice is, where that water level is, my bad. So that's where our water level is. And then we're going to take our ice, we're going to have glaciers, so this is going to go in the water, and then we're going to have land ice, which is going to sit on land. Land. And then what you're going to do is you're going to mark if the water level changes. You're going to see how the water moves up onto the land. And after you let that ice melt, you're going to go ahead and mark it, and you're going to measure how much it changed from just that amount of land and sea ice melting. That's what's happening as our planet warms more. But it's not all bad. What can you do to help? So, there are many things you can do to help. First things first, we can plant more greenery. That means gardens or trees being planted in your backyard or in a communal space. Those greens inhale carbon dioxide, well, not like us, but they breathe carbon dioxide, and they release oxygen, and that helps with the greenhouse gases. You can also recycle anything your county allows, and if you aren't recycling, to reduce what's going into a landfill, you can compost things like eggshells or banana peels and make a compost pile. That's also great for your greenery when you plant it. You can also reduce your carbon footprint. Your carbon footprint is the amount of carbon or greenhouse gases that an individual creates. So that means you could do things like walking somewhere instead of using a car, or biking, or turning off your TV, your lights, or any other electronics and unplugging them to make sure that they are not using electricity even when they're off. But the most important thing you can do for climate change is to make sure your friends and family know about it as well. We cannot stop climate change as one individual. We have to do it as a whole. The only way we are going to stop this is together. Thank you for joining me today on Kaleideum at Home, and I will see you again.